Well, Jim's a special person. I always like to think about, Jim is my kid brother, and I adopted him when he was in his 20s, and he was full of, desire and goals and dreams and just a passion for learning and a passion for making a difference in people's lives. And it was the same path and journey that I was on, and I was just a little bit older than he was, and just a little bit ahead of the a little bit ahead of on the road that he was. And so he was on the same journey. And one of the things I always loved was a friend of mine, Lisa, said, lift as you climb. And so Jim was somebody that was climbing the mountain, and I was climbing the mountain, and so he was just he was and still is just an amazing human being. Yeah, I think Jim's really unique gift is he gets deep into getting people to actually take action as opposed to gather more information. And there's a lot of the personal development arena that is more interested in making sure that their work is consumed at a surface level, and they really don't care whether people achieve the results or don't. And what I know Jim is committed to, and I've seen this for years and years and years, is he really cares about getting the results with people. And so he's not just out there, sharing fluff with people. He is a master at accountability. He's a master at putting processes and systems to get people to do things that they would normally not do on their own, given their own set of beliefs and values and habits. And the more guidance somebody gets and has, the easier it becomes for them to take action. And every single person wants to do better, but they're unaware of why they're not doing as well as they could be doing. And what I love about the work that Jim is doing now is he's taken technology and he's taken, proven methodologies for transformation, and he's making it easy for people to take baby steps that lead to strides, that leads to much faster abilities to achieve their goals. And he's got a really unique ability of merging, processes and systems, the nuts and bolts of human behavior, with all of the personal development, motivational, inspirational material that's out there. And he just cares. He really cares about results as opposed to selling 20 more books or 20 more programs or 100 more of his programs. He wants the results more than he wants more people, and that makes all the difference in the world. It's, we share that in common, is that it's not about us being famous, it's about us helping as many people as possible achieve the results that they want. That's where we get the greatest gratification. Some people get the gratification of how many books they can sell, and I think Jim gets the gratification of how many people's lives he can change. So one of the things that I've seen Jim do brilliantly well is the exact same thing that every professional coach does, or every professional music instructor does, or any professional does with their students. And that is, they baseline where their student is, or where their athlete is, or where their player is, and they track their progress day by day, week by week, month by month. And if you don't measure it and track it, how is it possible to really tell when people are making progress or if people need some additional help? And so his ability to track and measure what every one of his students and clients does is really something that the industry hasn't really done, other than through verbal cues. And telling somebody, yeah, you're doing a great job, no, you're not doing a great job. He's using some just great technology and great methodologies to help people see the progress that they're making day by day, week by week, month by month. And then to have him and his team coach individuals based on where they are versus where other people are is an indispensable tool. One of the reasons that even though Jim and I are dear friends, we compete in the same marketplace, he learns from me and I learn from him, and we've just hired him to help reconfigure a whole bunch of our courses to include a lot of the tracking mechanisms that he's been using for years now. And he's one of the best in the world at it in our space, if not the best in the world in our space. And I like to work with people who are the best, and I consider him my kid brother many years ago, and now he's just a colleague that is doing the same work that I'm doing, and doing some amazing things within the personal development arena that in the next year, 3-5 years, everybody else is going to have to do it, because what they do just won't even be on the same playing field as what Jim is doing, what we're doing. So it's really a function of taking the game to a whole higher level, and it all boils down to one thing: getting people the results that they want to get for themselves.
And Jim does that for people?
Jim helps people get results, period, end of story. So I've seen thousands of people that have gone through the ultimate game of life, and the one thing I can say about the ultimate game of life is it's not about a game as much as it is about getting results. And by playing it as a game, people get results, period, end of story.
Awesome. And you've seen people get results in that?
I have personally met hundreds of Jim's clients that have gone through the ultimate game of life. I've read hundreds of testimonials from individuals, and consistently all I hear was, wow, amazing, transformational, changed my life. And he knows what he's doing. He's one of the best in the world at it, and he does it differently than everybody else, which makes it so unique. When my kids were born, my first son was born, I went into the shower and I scrubbed myself clean, thinking that in a few hours my son, actually we didn't even know that it was going to be a boy, was going to be given to me as a gift from God. And that's the feeling that I had for both of my kids' birth, is that God had taken care of them for 9 months in their mom's womb, and then I was being handed over a gift that was my responsibility. And there is nothing more powerful than my bond with my kids. And so that's my priority. And hopefully I can contribute, because that's a huge, responsibility for me as well. And but if I only had one option, it'd be to my kids and to my wife. And but fortunately I get to do them all. I look at my children and my wife as my immediate family, and the rest of humanity is my next generation family. Just one gene removed, or so I feel a sense of responsibility to the world. What's really neat is to have been a part and to be a part of Jim's growth and transformation. And I remember the night I introduced him to his wife, and I had met Michelle 1 or 2 weeks earlier, and a couple of weeks later we were at a restaurant, and I introduced Jim to Michelle, and just to see him fall in love, get married. They actually had their wedding at the beach, and then we had the party right here, right back here. We had the party right here in this home. And then for him to become a father, and to see him, be an amazing dad, and how he transformed from, being a bachelor to being a husband, to being a father, to being, free-spirited and going to the beach and playing volleyball and doing everything for Jim, to doing things for his wife, with his wife, for his son, with his son, and growing his business and becoming an amazing entrepreneur. It's just been a beautiful transformation. Not just because it's Jim, because he's a byproduct of everything he teaches. And he's not just telling people what they should do, he's living, and he's a living example of what he's teaching. And so he's totally congruent, and wherever there are incongruencies, he fixes them, and he still does the work, as many of us do. And the beautiful thing about him is he's totally open to learning, to growing, to sharing, to becoming more, to looking at his stuff, to uncovering more hidden rocks, and then teaching what he learns and discovers in his own life to make the lives of other people better. And so he's embodied personal growth and development, and he's become an amazing teacher of personal growth and development. And that's his light. That's his, that's the brightness called Jim Bunch.